Like the next day I woke up in the morning around 9. Guys, I stressed that woman. So we took the risk, and then as I was just about to press June 7, let me pick. Now so the team vanish. I didn't see I saw them back. For what time? I was about to book my flight, and that was when all this news was flying around that before my interview day. There was something my mom and I did. You have to wait for them to approve you to be able to. I couldn't pick a date. In short, let's go and see the shop. It's not Kenny. What happened? What did we carry? What did we throw? It's too much. That's a lot. 6,000 for just Then you go through the machine. Hey, Chineke mo my chain. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, you're welcome. My name is NENYEEE, and I share tips and experiences to help international students like yourself to be able to navigate your study journey to the United States of America, which is where I am currently. So today I will be sharing a highly requested video. My US student F1 visa interview experience with you guys. So if you don't know, I did my F1 visa interview at the US Embassy in Abuja. Yeah, I said it in a couple of my videos. So if you've not seen that video, I'm gonna leave it somewhere around here so that you can watch it, the process on how I relocated. But this video today, we're going to be talking about my experience in depth, how my interview went, the questions that I was asked, how the whole thing just happened, and how I got my F1 visa approved in less than 2 minutes. Yes, you heard me, less than 2 minutes, guys. Yeah, you heard that right. We're going to be talking about that. So let's dive right into the video. And I know this is a crucial part of the process for a lot of us. I'm going to be sharing all of that with you guys. Don't go anywhere, and we'll dive into the experiences. Okay, so let me start by giving you guys some context, right? I applied for the F1 student visa after I got admitted to my school and my program. So I applied for the F1 student visa on the 1st of May. Like, I went to the CGI website, filled all my documents, filled every necessary information. But when I submitted it, I was told to wait. Like, you have to wait for them to approve you to be able to schedule a date. So I waited the first day, right? I didn't see any approval email. I asked around, and people were like, oh, it takes time. Sometimes it may take a day, it might take 2 weeks, it might take 3 days, it might take, like, the time frame I was hearing was just frightening, and I was scared. I'm like, hey God, please, I'm like, let these people approve me so that I can get a favorable date. Fast forward, like the next day I woke up in the morning around 9 o'clock. I think I had just finished saying my prayers at the time, and then I opened my email. I saw that you have been approved. Like, congratulations, you have been approved to schedule a student F1 visa. I'm going through the email, guys, because I want to give you guys, for the sake of transparency, can you see that request to schedule something has been approved? Yeah, sorry, I couldn't read it backwards. So, and then I went onto the CGI website. Like, I was so happy. I told my mom was like, oh yeah, let's go and pick our date. So I went to the CGI website. Unfortunately, there were no dates, right? That was when the real hustle began for dates. And if you know that getting a date for the F1 visa interview in Nigeria is always a struggle. So when I checked, there were no dates. I was like, mommy, there's no date, let's just chill. So I'm praying that God will give us a favorable date. And of course, Miss Detailed Me, I am very detailed to the core. Closely, you see March 15, 2024. God, I want this. These were like all my prayer points. I listed everything out, and I'm like, oh God, I want a date that will be favorable to me. I want your mercy on securing your approved visa interview date for me here in Lagos State. Initially I put Lagos State, but where my heart wanted was Abuja, because I stay in Lagos State, so I put Lagos State in my prayer point. But in my heart, like, God knew my heart, and it was like, this girl is Abuja, that you're going to get this thing. So fast forward, right? Like, I kept telling God, please get these people approved me so that I can book my date. Luckily for me, like, few days after I got approved, I was finally able to get a date. I got my date on the 7th of May. I got approved to schedule a date on the 2nd of May, and then on the 7th of May, I was able to pick a date. Hey, is this not good? How I got that date, to be honest, like, it was a lot of back and forth, because people were on the group, they were saying, oh, there is dates, that dates are out, you guys should go and check up dates and pick your dates. Like, it was just like a support group for all of us at the time, So when I saw the, support group at the time, they had mentioned that, oh, there's a date available now for June 7. The first date I saw was June 7. I went on there. As I was just about to press June 7, let me pick. Now so the team vanish. I didn't see I couldn't pick a date for that day. So I'm like, okay, I lost it. I told my mom. So my mom was like, oh, I missed that date. Okay, I shouldn't worry. I will get another date. That was how I knew that date was not for me, to be honest, because immediately I got on there and I wasn't able to pick up that date. I just knew it was not for me. After like a few minutes, June 14 was out. So I was able to book my appointment for June 14, like few days after. And when I got the dates, right, I was so happy. And it was literally like 7 slots available. I was just happy to be one of the few people that got the 7 slots. I'm like, yeah, we finally got it. My mom was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Like, we finally got it. So now let's start preparing to be able to go down to Abuja and prepare for the interview, right? So yeah, let's go back a bit. For you to be able to get you an appointment or pick up a date, right, you have to pay your service fee and keep the receipt handy. If you don't know what service fee is at this phase, service fee is a student and exchange visa information program, I think, that keeps track of you as a student or as a visitor, whatever it is that you're coming to the US to do, but particularly to keep track of you as a student and to be sure that whatever you say you're coming here to do as a student, that's what exactly you're doing when you get here. So you're paying for that service fee, and the particular service fee is tied to a particular school. There is no, oh, I want to use this service fee for another school. If you're going to do that, then you have to transfer, but that's a whole different phase on its own. Let's not digress. So you pay for your service fee and keep the receipt handy. Is very important. You also complete your DS-160 and keep the receipt handy. So you want to print a confirmation page. So that confirmation page is what you need, the one that has the barcode on it. That is what you need. Then you want to schedule your interview through the US visa appointment website. I don't know what it is now, but I hear that it is AVITS. Back in my time in 2024, I scheduled for my interview on the CGI website, but I hear that has changed and they are using AVITS now, right? I hope I pronounce it right. So you want to gather all your necessary documents before your interview: your passport, your I-20 form that the school has given to you that is issued by your university, your proof of financial support, which may not be needed. I have a particular video that talks on proof of funds, how to go about it, what you need, and what a proof of fund is that is acceptable during your I-20 issuance and probably during your visa interview, which may not be needed, but I'm going to link it up in this video so that you guys can watch it and have an extensive knowledge on what a proof of fund or proof of financial support is. You also want to have your admission letter from the university handy, and you see that page where they said, oh, you have your appointment for so day at so embassy with so time with your name, your passport. Like that appointment confirmation page for your visa interview, you also want to print that out. I'm going to leave like a checklist here on the screen so that you guys don't miss out anything. If you have an old passport, especially if you've traveled or your passport has expired and you have a new passport, please take both to the embassy. I have heard and seen people who said they've gone to the embassy and they were asked for their old passport and they couldn't provide it. Some of them it was an issue, some they just overlooked it. But please don't make the mistake. Take your passport with you if you have an old one, but if you're a fresh bee, go with your passport, your I-20, your proof of financial support, your admission letter, your service fee receipt, your DS-160 confirmation page, and your visa appointment page as well that has all your appointment details. A tip I would advise in this section is, because right now we're talking before the interview, right? You want to organize your documents in a folder so that you can easily access them quickly during the interview. And by folder, I'm referring to clear bags like this, and make sure that the most important ones are the ones that are kept at the forefront, like your passport, your I-20. All those ones should be at the front. Your admission letter, your appointment letter, your graduate assistantship letter, your proof of financial support. That order, that's how it should be, right? So that if you're asked for a document, you are able to provide it during your interview. And to be honest, the most important thing that they will even ask you during your interview is your passport and your I-20. If you're in Nigeria, you don't even touch your proof of financial support. They don't. And majorly it is mostly dependent on how you look during your interview, the way you talk, the way you speak, your confidence level, your charisma, the things you feel on your DS-160, because those are the things they will look at and then interview you. Let's go to the second part of my visa interview experience. So to the second part, which is arriving at the embassy. Let me give you guys another context. So the day for my interview came, or a few days before my interview it came, and at that time it was the period where there was this labor strike. There were no local flights. Local flights were being cancelled. You could not even fly. And mind you, I was going to Abuja for my interview, or I'm supposed to go to Abuja for my interview, and as at the time I was about to book my flight, and that was when all this news was flying around that I can't be able to book my flight because certain airlines are not flying, and even if they are going, there is strike because of government issue at the time. My mom and I were were left with the option of going by road. I went with my mom because I needed the physical support big time. I'm very keen on support, and my mom was that for me throughout the entire process. My dad as well, but my mom had to make out time to come with me, and God knows that if I had gone there alone, I don't know how I would have done it. Like, she was my strength, and she understood every situation. For every time she saw me practicing and studying, because I was studying for my interview, guys. I had sleepless nights. I slept late, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. But on the night of my interview, I slept very early because I needed to wake up with fresh mind. So the time came, we were supposed to travel. Like I said, committed the entire trip into God's hand because we were taking a risk. And if you stay in Nigeria or any African country, you know that traveling by road is not entirely safe. So we took the risk, and then we entered GIG Motors. You know GIG Motors in Nigeria then. My experience with them, well, that one is for another day. My experience with them going was sweet, but coming back, I can't deal. I can't talk about it in these videos. We got to Abuja on time. When we got there, I had already booked our hotel like few days before our arrival. So when we got there, you know, we got to the hotel, we were lodged into the hotel. The place is not entirely, you know, the big hotel, because the budget we had for the hotel was not something I wanted to spend like a lot for. It's just a few days I was going to stay there besides just for my interview. We just needed a place to sleep so that we can get the thing done once and for all. So I think it was 2 days before my interview. We got there like 2 days before my interview. So when we got there, of course, I was practicing and doing all my, I even made my mom ask me questions like she was a visa officer. I'm like I gave her a sheet of paper with the questions at the back. I'm like, Mommy, ask me these questions, like just go one at a time. Then maybe later on you can just, you know, freestyle pick any questions from the paper and throw it at me. We did that like 2-3 times. I'm sure if my mom is watching this, she will be like, oh yes, she remembers everything. Like, guys, I stressed that woman, and I really want to give her everything at this point, but let's not digress. So moving on, she did it, and I was able to practice and practice and practice with her. At some point, my mom was like, you have all your answers. Don't be scared. Don't be worried. But the perfectionist in me, I was like, no, Mommy, there's a loophole here. There's a loophole here. There is something. I don't feel like I'm answering this question. All right. And even my partner that was helping me prepare at that time, because he would be like, oh yeah, let's go on. We do mock interviews, like with interviews, and he'll be like, okay, let me ask you this. What do you think? Or what's your answer to this question? He just throws it at me. Sometimes we're even like freestyling. Instead of being official and looking professional, let's just play with it, and we try different angles. You also want to have a very good support system in this phase. I cannot overemphasize this a lot. Like, it was very helpful. So before my visa day, like before my interview day, there was something my mom and I did. We went to the embassy a day before my interview. Like, we got there, let's say on Monday, and my interview was on Wednesday. We got there Monday, we rested. Tuesday, we went to the embassy to kind of like get a feel of the embassy, to see what the place is like, so that I am not shocked when I get there on the day of my interview. So we went there like later in the day, and then there was something my mom did that was very, in as much as we'll say this, very African. To be honest, I was so thankful to God that she did that thing for me. She literally prayed at the embassy that day. I'm not saying she went and started kabushing and touching things. No, as she was walking around, like going around the place, she was committing the entire building, the entire space to God's hands, and that on the day of my interview, everything was going to go as planned, that there will be no problem, everything was going to be seamless, and it was going to be good. Like, she just committed it to God's hand. I didn't know this. When we got home, she told me that this was what she did. Although I also said my prayer in my mind, but I don't think I said it the way my mom said it that day. So it was, I didn't even know when I knelt down. I hugged her, I pecked her, and I'm like, Mommy, thank you so much. It was so sweet of my mom, and it's not like I was expecting anything less, because that woman is an angel. All those people that are at the embassy, oh, come and buy this, come and print out your documents, come and do this. I saw them, 5,000 per copy, 2,000 per copy, 6,000 per copy. For what? For what? How much is your shop? How much is that shop that is there that you're telling 5,000 per? In short, let's go and see the shop. It's not Kenny. What happened? What did we carry? What did we throw? It's too much. That's a lot. 6,000 for just my dear, print your copies at home. That was what I did before even reaching Abuja. And I'm not saying I even printed it at Abuja. I printed it from Lagos, where I was staying, before I even came down to Abuja. So when I got there, we saw the security that we kind of like asked, okay, for coming here, what are the documents we need to hold just to reconfirm? And she was like, oh, you just need your service fee receipt, your DS-160 confirmation page, your passport, she told us documents that we needed, and we were like, okay, I think we've got everything, so let's go home. So we went back home preparing for the next day, which was my interview. And oof, guys, this is the story part. This is the interview day. Let's get into it. So the day of my interview came. I have my transcript here. If you don't know what a transcript is a written down copy of how your interview went, like the entire process. So I'm gonna use that to talk about everything in this video. So on the day of my interview, I woke up around 3 a.m. and it started raining at that time, but it stopped raining at 5 o'clock that morning. Like, it was raining heavily. Where that rain came from, I did not know. It said B-roll. So the struggle to get it like very early. First driver we had reached out to come and pick us, his phone was switched off, and that was when it all began. My mom and I were like, hey, how are we going to get there? Because people are calling, their number is switched off. And then I reached out to a friend, and the friend was like, oh, don't worry, he's going to send somebody, or he send me his cab driver to come and pick us. And luckily for me, that was how God came through, and this driver came to pick both my mom and I, but it was still raining, so we went with our umbrella. When we got to the embassy, we were like the second people to arrive. So there was this canopy, like when you get to the Abuja embassy, if you've been there before, when you get there, there's like a canopy where you can stay. You're not going to the main place, you're going to stand there. There's no chair, nothing. But luckily for me that there was a chair there, just one single chair. So my mom, I told her to sit on it, like just so that she can rest her leg, because she's my good luck charm. Then me, I was just standing, and my mom was just petting me. She was like, are you okay? Is everything fine? How is your mind? Calm down, calm down. Like, it was tense, but then again, I was trying to be calm and confident. While we were waiting, right, at about 6:55 a.m, right, the security told us to go line up, male on this side, the female on this side, and then they were running checks on us, where they would take all this equipment and run it through your body to be sure you don't have any metal object, blah blah blah. So when they did that, that was the first check. They moved us inside. When we got inside, there was another check, so we had to line up. And this second check was, if your appointment is for 6:30, stay here. If your appointment is for 7 o'clock, stay here. If your appointment is for 7:30, stay here. So it was line by line. So I stayed on the 7:30 line because my appointment was for 7:30. And then that was how the same woman I met yesterday that told me documents I needed to bring out was the same woman that was there. God at work. She was like, okay, everybody bring out your documents, put your passport, followed by your passports, those mini small size American size passport that you took at the studio, put it inside your DS-160, your service fee receipt, and your interview appointment page. This is why I said you need to keep all these documents handy. So that was what they told us to present to them. So when we presented it to them, they have like this mini paper where they have everybody that is scheduled for the day. So they will go through it and see if your name is there. If your name is there, they will now take out something and stamp it at the back of your passport, and then ask you to go inside, which leads us to the third check. So when we got to the third check, the third checking point is where you are asked to remove all this jewelry that I even wore jewelry all this jewelry that you wear, remove everything, remove your wristwatch, remove your earrings, everything that seems metallic on your body, just remove everything. You put down all those things, and then you go through the machine. Hey, Chineke mo machine. Go through the machine. So the machine checks you and further certifies that okay, you don't have anything on you, and then they'll tell you go inside. Now from there you're going to the main interview space. One good thing about Abuja is soft. Right, so even if you go alone and you carry like a bag with you or umbrella, they have a space where you can keep your things. So what they would do is just give you like a tag and tell you that tag could carry like number on it. When you're coming back, you just present that tag to them, they will give you your stuff. So don't be worried that you're carrying any stuff. The place I know that you will not have this luxury is Lagos, because a couple of people say don't go with your things except you have somebody you're going with, person will hold it for you. So my mom held my phone at the time, it's there. So after the check, they told us to now properly go inside. So when you get inside, it was like a sitting position where we were going in circles. We were not standing, and good thing is because they followed by appointment, it was not a lot of us inside. We were going in bit by bit, so there was enough seats to go around. And the way the thing was structured is you sit on a chair. The visa officer, I think the time I went, the visa officers were not even there at the time, so we waited for like 30 minutes, 1 hour plus before they now came, and then we started. They started with the first people that went inside. The only way you can know what's going on is when the visa officer is done, you will hear him or her over a loudspeaker saying next. You know how people are like, you're in the interview spot and you're hearing everything people are saying, like you're seeing them, how they are being interviewed, the question that they are asked. That was not the case for me. Like, I was seated outside, I didn't even know what was going on inside. People are sharing their experiences, that they are hearing other people talk, the answers they are giving, and the minute they say, well, you are disapproved or you are not approved, you can hear it, so it destabilizes you. That was not the case for me. I was seated outside, I wasn't hearing shingbang. I was just to my thoughts, wondering and pacing my mind like, oh, how is this going to be? How is it going to turn out? At the same time, I was still praying to God. I didn't even try to stress myself. I just kept telling God, please God, I am here, we are here, please let this thing work out. I leave everything in your hands. Give me the right things to say, the right words to say. I have done my part, I have practiced, just guide me. That was my prayer point. I kept calling on the Holy Spirit. Of course, when it was now my turn, I was told next, and I went inside. As I got inside like this, the security at the door was like, I think wanted me to show her my documents. She ran through the documents again, and then the man came and put like a mark on my hand. I don't know what that mark meant. And then the next thing he did was he asked me to go to Windows 12. You know, as I was walking in, that was when I now saw how the actual interview room is like. So it's just like you're in a bank and you're seeing a lot of people at specific counters. That was how it was. So when I walked in and I was going over to my counter where I was going to be interviewed, there was this guy that was window 11 before window 12. I could hear him. I'm like, okay, is this how this is going to be? It was not exactly that loud, but then again, you could hear what other people are saying. So when I got to the window, right, like there wasn't even a lot of people that day at the interview space. I could literally count them, maybe like 3 or 4 those of visa officers that were on seats on my day of the interview. I got in around like 8:35 in the morning. So to the interview itself, right, when I got to the counter where the visa officer was, he was like, pass me your documents. So I passed my document to him. I was smiling. I don't yet talk, say at least keep a pretty smiling face. I mean, the American culture, even here that I came now, I'm seeing that a lot of them smile at you whether you want it or not. When you're going to so you have to smile. I was like, good morning, how are you? I hope you're good. How is your day going? And he wasn't looking at me initially, but when I asked those questions, the next thing he did was he looked up at me and I was like, oh, hi, good morning. He smiled back and I was like, good morning, I'm good, I hope you are too. And I'm like, yes, officer, I am. So what I was trying to do there, I was trying to ease my tension, ease the anxiety that I have. You will have it, there's no doubt, it's gonna be there, but how you control it is entirely up to you. So I tried to control that by starting the room, by making the room like convenient for both of us, right? You know, the next thing he did was, oh, he was going to scan my fingerprints and he wants me to put this like this, put this other 4 fingers on the fingerprint scanner, if that's what it's called. The same thing with my right hand. So after we were done with that, he now went through my documents, and the document he asked me to pass was just my I-20 and my passport. Just those 2. Every other thing that I had was left in this file. It didn't even come out of the bag at all. So when I passed the team, it was like he looked through my I-20 and he looked through my passport, and then the interview proper started. He was like, can you tell me where you're going to? And then I looked at him, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to the United States of America for my Masters of Art degree program, and my program is for 2 years and I'm studying so and so. He kept quiet. He didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. But one thing you don't want to do is leave that room for silence, because that room for silence is creating doubt. So immediately I noticed and I saw that there was silence in the room. I picked up again and I was like, oh, I chose this school because during my application process, I wanted a school that would focus on certain things, certain skills that I wanted to hone in my film studies program. And this school stood out for me because of, you know, the courses that they have, the things that the course track that they have, the professor that I was going to be learning from. As I was talking, he caught me and he was like, what do I do? So I told you like my profession. As I was talking, the next thing he asked me was, what's your highest qualification? While he was asking me this question, he was typing and I'm like, oh, I have a Bachelor's of Art degree in Performing Arts and Film Studies, where I majored in film studies and production. While I was saying all of this, I began to notice that he detached my passport from my I-20. Like he had already removed. Initially, everything was still inside the way I gave it to him. He was just typing. So I felt at that point when he had not detached it, I had not given him a strong thing to hold on to prove that, oh, okay, I'm a genuine student and this is what I wanted to do and this is why I'm pursuing this. So immediately he asked me that question, I just knew that this was a place to sell myself. But I didn't stop, I still continued. I'm like, oh, this made me now graduate as the top best graduating student in my class, where I had a CGPA of 3.48 out of a 4-point scale, because my school uses a 4-point scale. And I have my thesis paper that was published in so and so place, in so and so time, and all that stuff. He caught me there, stopped me, and then the next thing he asked me, what school again? I told him, oh, looked at me, I was like, so ma'am, I see your cost of attendance is 33,000. How do you plan to cover that? So immediately I told him, oh, I have a graduate assistantship that covers my food tuition, my expenses, and all of that stuff. My mini deficit covered by my dad. I told him what my dad do and how long he has been in business doing that. particular trade and how he's going to be covering everything for me. So I submitted my father's bank statement, and I'm not about to share that on yet. So yeah, I told him that, and the next thing he did was he was nodding. And you know, one thing about these people is when they are nodding, you don't know if it is a positive nod or a negative nod. You shall accept it in good faith and just tell the Holy Spirit, please, whatever is going on, commit this to you. While I was answering his questions, my heart was shaking, my voice was shaking, I could tell. But what happened? I still maintained steeze, I still maintained confidence. I kept my hands on the counter. Like that further helped to even boost my confidence, because I wasn't moving, I wasn't all over the place. So when I kept my hand there and I was talking, I was looking at him kuro the way I'm looking at you guys in this camera. Like my eyes didn't flinch a bit. My eyes was fixed on him. When he had all of that, and I feel like he had gotten his answer to the questions that he wanted, next thing he asked me was, have I been out of the country before? I told him, oh no, I haven't been out of the country. The next thing he asked me was, do I have relatives in the US? I'm like, I'm first generation child for my family. I'm the first person, so I don't have any relative in the US. All my family members are here. Like my entire life is here. My dad, my mom, my brother. Anybody that know me knows that I'm very close to my family, especially my baby brother. So I don't have anybody. I'm not saying this was what I told him with the love story. I just told him, oh no, all my relatives are here in Nigeria and I don't have anybody in the US. So the next question he asked me was, what are your plans after your studies? So I went on to tell him that, oh, after my studies, I'm going to be doing this and I'm going to be doing that, and I also want to take the skills I've learned into the academic world and teach, you know, young scholars, young film scholars who want to produce movies, who want to do content creation, who want to edit. I mean, so I told him all of that, and in that moment he moved away from his system, took my passport and kept it away from the counter. That was when I knew I was approved. I was still talking, you know. Next thing he did was he grabbed a white paper and then he placed my I-20 on top of it, and then he placed it to me and it was like, this piece of paper will explain to you how to pick up your documents in so and so days. Congratulations. I didn't even see, you know, the first part where they say congratulations, your visa. I don't think I heard it, but it was said. Like, you know, when somebody rings bell in beside your ear, and the person removes it, that sound, that lingering sound was what was in my ear when I saw him remove that passport. I was tone deaf. I didn't hear jack. I was in shock, but for some reason I was still able to talk. And when he gave me the thing, I was like, oh, thank you so much, have a nice day, have a lovely day. And that was how I carried my bag and I left. Like, basically he told me, oh, you can't enter the US until this so date that is on your I-20. I can't remember, but yeah, along that line, that was what he said. I walked out in shock that day. I was not expecting what I saw, but the way the entire thing, like, that was it. That interview, the way I'm saying it now, it looks like something that lasted for 10 minutes. It did not last for 2 minutes. It was like 1 minute and a few seconds, if I'm not mistaken, less than 2 minutes. Like, for this section, I would like to talk about why I think it went so smoothly, because anybody I tell this story to, my close family, even when I wrote out my transcript, I titled it my water to wine story, because it was smooth. And if you follow Pastor Nathaniel Bassi, the time we had the Hallelujah Challenge last 2024, between 2023 and 2024, if I'm not mistaken, and we tagged the team water to wine story, right? And they're like, oh, if you know you're looking for something where act and live in your testimony. I lived my testimony like I was already in it. Like, for every time we were praying, I was just telling God, thank you for this visa, thank you for this date, thank you for a wonderful fall semester, thank you for a wonderful spring semester, thank you for my graduate assistantship job that went. I wasn't even saying, God, I want this at some point. I was just saying, oh God, thank you for you have done this, thank you for you have done this. So, like, to be honest, why I think it went so smoothly, first off, it was God. My prayer points, how detailed I was in telling God what I wanted, that was how I think it went. Like, that's my first point. God is just why it went smoothly, if you ask me. God said, my daughter, you will not stress. I am taking you to the person that I want you to go to. Go there. And then the second thing is, be on time. Like, arrive at least 30 minutes or an hour before your interview. The reason why I say this is because the visa officers, that's when they are most fresh in the morning. Like, it's just like you're waking up in the morning, you're very fresh. Any energy that is coming to you that morning, especially positive one, you'll be up at it. And if you notice, as time flies and it goes into midday, evening, your energy begins to go down. We are human beings. It will go down and you'll be tired. These visa officers are human beings as well. So go early in the morning, be on time very early, so that you're getting the best part of them and they are able to listen to you while you're talking. Even if they're going to cut you, they only cut you when you've given them the information that they need, or when you're not giving giving them what they need, and that will now determine the length of your interview. If you're not telling them what they need, that's when they will keep asking you questions. So why this program, why this school, how long is your this, how long is your that, what will you be doing there, where will you? The minute they start asking you a lot of questions, like more than maybe 10, 12, is stretching. That's even if you have that time. That means you've not provided them with the information that they need. For every why question you're answering, that's one thing I would say. Tie it back to why that program is important and what it will do for you and to what you'll be doing, like for your career goal and your professional goal. So another thing is dress appropriately. Like, my official tip would be business casual is a safe choice. You guys saw how I dressed. I wasn't doing anything serious. I wore my normal bob wig that you guys have seen on this channel like a couple of times. I didn't even wear makeup. I just kept my face bare. I accessorized. Make yourself look good. Like, even when people see it, they'll be like, oh, this person is someone of high standard and caliber. So business casual is a safe choice. Don't overdo it, please. If you want to do makeup, keep it at the barest minimum. I didn't wear makeup on my own day, and that was funny because people were like, oh, did you do makeup too? I didn't do all of that. Another thing is prepare for common questions and practice your answers, but don't memorize them. Ask for support. If you have anybody at home that can support you, like me, my mom was my support system. My brother, those two, I used them. Even when my brother came to visit me back in my place in Lagos, I told him to ask me questions and he was doing it. And use your family members. That's why they are there. Use them. So you want to practice your answers, but majorly do not cram your answers, so that when you're asked the question, you can be able to flex around with that answer, but you're still saying the same thing, because that was what the case was for me. While I was practicing, I told my mom, Mommy, twist this question, say it another way, and then let's see if my answer is going to fit into that, because I was experimenting from different angles. My mom, my younger brother, my partner. The only person I did not stress like that was my dad, but he got his own stress in some way. Even my friends, I told them to do this, like ask me this question, and they did, and I answered. So you want to prepare for common questions. If you guys want me to do a video on the common questions that would be asked during your visa interview and how to answer it, let me know in the comment section, right? You also want to stay calm and confident. It's okay to be nervous. Very okay to be anxious, for your hands to be shaky. I was like that, but don't let it overwhelm you. For me, what helped me was I kept reciting some Bible verses that helped me. Romans 8:8. I kept telling myself, all things work together for my good. This place is going to favor me. My visa interview officer is going to favor me. I kept countering those nervous words with positive words from the Bible. So maybe you can try that if you're a Christian, and hold on to your faith that God, who has brought you there, will not let you down. Okay, remember, these visa officers just want to be sure that you're a genuine student. You know exactly what you're coming here to do, and they want to see it through you, that even when you feel shaken or you feel like moved on the side, you can be able to answer the questions and you can stand your ground. So I hope sharing my experience helps you guys feel like prepared and confident, you know, for your own visa interview. So if you want me to shoot a video on how to answer your interview questions, like I said, or common questions, let me know in the comment section. Let me know if you have specific questions, or if you would like me to create a video answering common interview questions. Drop it in the comment section. Okay, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to my channel if you are not subscribed, for more tips to help you on your study visa here in the United States. Thanks for watching, and in the description box I have a link to a support group on Telegram that would help you through this process. That was my big banking support system. You need all the support you can get, please. Like, I cannot overemphasize this enough. You need all the support from home, from people that are in the same journey as you or in the same process as you, especially during this period. It can get a bit overwhelming. So if you have confusing questions, I would urge you to join the group, ask your questions, you know, and it's a whole lot of community on there to guide you and to put you in the right direction. Okay, so thank you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video that you will see after this closing scene. Okay, so I will see you in either of the two videos. Okay, I love you guys so much. Bye.